Teslas as taxis in Australia? I don't know, man. It sounds like a crazy idea, but I've got someone in an exclusive interview today who might just have some info about that. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. So, Millan, can you hear me all right over there?
I can. Thank you for having this video chat, Brian. It's great to meet you semi in person as best as we can from Australia at the moment.
Of course. So, give me the name of the company, a 30-second overview. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so we've set up a business, as you can see here, teslataxi.com.au. Now, what we're basically aiming for here is helping the experience of the electric vehicle in Australia. So basically, in 2019, the Model 3 was released here. That's when we released this website. We wanted to be able to help more people fund more cars by basically giving them rentals. So we've bought a few cars ourselves, and then we're basically sending extra rentals to other privately owned cars around Australia. So we're just trying to, if someone was going to buy one for personal use, we're hoping they'll buy two or three and rent them out part of the time, so that way we can build up the fleet for when hopefully these things become autonomous in the fairly near future, and we can actually have the market base that we need to actually make an autonomous robocab system worthwhile and functional in Australia.
So you're trying to get that first mover advantage and have all your systems in place before it's too late.
Yeah, exactly, and we're not going to compete with the Tesla network, their own ride-sharing app. Obviously, they're going to have all that sorted out. We just want to make sure there's enough cars to make that actually work here in Australia. Because if we just wait for the cars to be profitable, then it's going to take weeks, months, years before we can actually get enough on the road to service the needs. So we're trying to make the cars profitable ahead of time, essentially.
So I assume there is already significant wait times when one orders a Tesla in Australia.
That's right. The three cars that we ordered, we were waiting on average around close to 6 months each. Right as we speak, they've actually got some extra stock in Australia. I think they had some issues with the China demand last quarter, but this is the first time since 2019 that there's ever been less than a 3 to 6 months wait from time of order to time of delivery, basically.
Wow. 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this?
That's how long's a piece of string story, that one. I had a computer company from 2001 to 2015, and then once I sold that company, I started looking at how this sort of autonomous sort of shared ownership model is going to probably play out. And then, as I mentioned, in 2019, pretty much around the time of Autonomy Day, I decided that the time was right to actually start moving into this space and actually making a business out of it rather than just a concept.
So, I think it might be your background in computers that gave you a different understanding of Autonomy Day than what Wall Street had.
Yeah, I don't think I've got much more respect for Wall Street than a lot of people on YouTube, but basically it was fairly obvious to me since 2015 that autonomy was coming around 2020 to 2023, seemed to be about when the technology would catch up with the abilities of programmers to make it work. So Autonomy Day hit some key points about exactly how they're going to attack the processing issues and power usage, all those sorts of things that you would actually need to be functional for this to actually work in an electric vehicle.
Yeah. So who is the team?
So we've got myself, business partner who we have an AV company doing this sort of touchscreen stuff. So basically myself and the business partner own the three cars for the initial fleet. Then I've got some other partners around Brisbane that are basically car owners, and they're also involved in sort of helping the websites be as functional as possible. We've got a couple of admin people in the office for both of our businesses, but essentially it is a small team. It is a small team. We're talking like half a dozen people in total for the whole operation.
So I noticed you also have an American division
No
you're
worries.
hoping to launch or are in the process of launching. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I only put the link on the main website today because we're not ready for a full launch, but now that your viewer base is watching, they can come along here. This F-150 Lightning rentals. Now, to be perfectly honest, I agree with a lot of what you said the other day in your F-150 overview, that it might not be a competitor to the Cybertruck, but what we're trying to get here is we're trying to get a pre-booking of F-150 rentals, enough to justify actually investing in a fleet in America. Probably one-to-one where we buy the F-150s for rental. We're also going to buy the Tesla Cybertruck, because we're going to hopefully find people that want to rent these things and actually side-by-side them and take the F-150 for a week, take the Cybertruck for a week, and see which one they prefer. So we're not backing either particular horse. I personally know which horse I think is going to win this race, but we're just trying to fill that market while it exists.
Some of the comments we got were really great. The big point was they're both going to win the race, because for years to come, however many are built is how many will be sold.
Exactly. Which is why I think there's going to be a big demand for rentals in the first 6 to 18 months. Well, everyone's waiting, as we just covered with Tesla, 6, 9, 12 months for their cars, their trucks. There's an opportunity there to rent these things out and give people, make sure they're happy, make sure they're 100% ready to commit to this $40,000, $50,000 purchase.
Sure. Yeah. 40. We'll see how many $40,000 units are sold in the first year of either. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's going to be about 0.
Look, I feel like Ford have kind of boxed themselves into a corner, and they've got to start producing some of these entry-level models. But you know your market better than I do. We'll see.
Yeah, it's tough to say. The only thing that I think would make them race to the base model is if they have to. Yeah. Or chip shortages, I suppose. But I don't know. They seem pretty nimble as a manufacturer compared to some. So we'll see on that. So in terms of your company, both the American version and eventually both the Australian version and the American version when it comes online, who is this for?
Our target market?
Well, yes, on both ends, on both sides.
Yeah, so in Australia we've got our own cars that we're getting rentals for, and we've got privately owned cars. We plan on doing a similar thing in America, depending on what we can do as far as fundraising. So I think I'll be able to buy, maybe half a dozen of the Ford F-150s and the Cybertrucks as a mix. Hopefully spend 2 or 3 months a year over there, sort of helping to manage the cars, appointing car managers, and all those sorts of things. But if the demand's what I expect, we're going to need dozens, if not hundreds, of other privately owned cars there as well.
Sure.
So we will sort of set up almost like a Turo sort of a platform once we've gauged demand.
Sure.
But unlike Turo, we want it to be really all about the users, both the renters and the car owners, not about sort of some umbrella making all the money out of it. We want, as much as possible payments to go person to person and those sorts of things.
Sure. I haven't heard too many horror stories about Turo, though a few, but I think that's to be expected with anything in the sharing economy.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that this isn't for?
I don't think so, and I think what we've found from privately owned cars here in Australia is that unless you're putting the renters first, you're probably more trouble than you're worth as part of the mix. So, if you're always looking at the renter and it's like, oh, do I want to use it this Saturday or rent it out and blah, 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 then it's kind of, it's not really the thing. Like if you've got 2 or 3 cars in the household, one of them's your EV, which is your love, but you're also happy to rent it out and use one of your old bombers, then that's really who the best person to sort of have a car that's shared is from my experience.
Sure. And to me, the most exciting use case, which is going to have an awful lot of potential, is the extended test drive market. And
exactly,
there's no reason someone who rents from you can't 3 months later let you rent their car.
Exactly. We've found from the Teslas we've rented out, and it's probably only maybe 200 or 300 rentals in Australia in the couple of years we've been operating, but from those, I would be thinking maybe more than 20% have gone on to buy cars already.
Wow.
And then another probably 20% are waiting for the Model Y, which we're hoping to get here this year. But yeah, once you use an EV, you're not going back to a petrol car. So it's really a great gateway drug into the market.
How is the charging infrastructure?
In Australia, it's good. If you live in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, or Adelaide, you can get to and from any of those cities without any delay. Your normal 12 minutes every 200 kilometres kind of thing.
Okay.
120 miles, I think that is, for your market. But basically, if you're if you're north of Brisbane, so if you're like Townsville, one of our big mining towns, kind of up that way, it's a bit sketchy. Like there are charges, high speed charges, but high speed is in Australia for anything that's not Tesla is 50 kilowatts, so that's not ideal, and single bay is not ideal.
So would that be like a level 2? Would that be like a dryer plug?
No, 50 kilowatts is, your standard high-speed Tesla is 100 to 150 kilowatts. So it's a good 50 to 60% of what a Tesla high-speed charger is, but a lot of them, as I said, are single bay. So if you turn up and someone's already there, then you're waiting an hour plus your hour. So it's, again, not ideal north of Brisbane.
Sure. So who is this not for?
Do you mean electric cars in Australia in general?
Well, I mean Tesla taxis. I mean the whole project,
Yes.
the whole concept.
Yeah, so I guess our best customers are people that want a rental car that's not polluting, or they want to try an electric car before they buy it. So I guess if neither of those things fit your situation, if you just want any cheap rental car, then it's probably not what we're going for.
That's true. If you just want a subcompact, why bother?
Yeah. Yeah, it's people that are looking forward and hoping to sort of get into this market permanently is more our target client.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and put up on the screen, your website and your information. Where should people follow you? Are you on Twitter?
At this stage, you'll find my name on the website, Millin Bear, and you can definitely contact me through LinkedIn. We're not currently active on Twitter. We're waiting until the fleet hits probably 24 cars, and then we'll probably appoint someone, sort of the PR representative, that sort of mans that full time. But at this stage, I've got enough irons in enough fires, so I don't have time for Twitter as well, unfortunately.
I feel your pain on that one. The cars you have, what autonomy levels do they have?
Okay, so all of our cars were bought in 2019, so we've got hardware 3, and we're waiting on FSD beta in Australia, which I would suggest might be here hopefully in September. And obviously, we'll probably either subscribe or permanently add it once that actually arrives here. Because our cars have done already a lot of Ks, we're considering whether we actually buy the FSD on this one or flip the current set and actually just replace them and buy the FSD on the replacement cars, just because of how many kilometres I've already done.
Sure. And the subscription looks pretty exciting for consumers.
Yeah. So I think you've got in America, you're America or Canada?
America.
You're America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think in America you've got $199 US for subscription.
Right.
I expect that's probably going to be $299 or $349 here, just based on how much our conversion rate is. However, our full price of FSD is only 10,000 Australian, so you never know. It could actually be $199 Australian. So
interesting.
We'll see how that unfolds.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we got. So, awesome, Millan. I appreciate you being on. And for anyone watching it, why don't you leave a comment? Let us know what I missed or misunderstood. And, I'll check all the comments and we'll see if we need to do a round 2 on this next month.
Yeah, why not? It's always nice to have a chat to someone at, what is it, at your place, 11 o'clock at night?
It is.
Almost bedtime.
Yeah. All right. Well, Millan, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Brian.
You bet. So that's it. That was the interview with Tesla Taxi in Australia. So what did I miss or misunderstand? Leave me an earful in the comments below. And as always, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I simply cannot wait to hear from you clever robots. Upside down. Is that a thing? That's a thing.